Dive into the world of riddles and challenge your brain. Welcome, friends, to a journey where every step is a question, every breath, a puzzle. As we weave through this labyrinth of wit and wisdom, remember, it's not just about the answers, but how you get there. Let's kick off this adventure with our first riddle. Picture this: a set of keys that can unlock neither doors nor treasures. Strange, isn't it? But that's the twist. Here it is, riddle number 1. What has keys but can't open locks? Imagine, ponder, and let your mind wander. This is not a race against time, but a dance with words and thoughts. Every second counts, every moment matters. So are you ready? Can you solve the riddle before time runs out? Think quickly, your 15 seconds start now. Moving on to the next one, a riddle that's light as a feather. Imagine something so light, so ethereal, that even the most robust individual couldn't hold on to it for much longer than 60 seconds. This riddle may seem like it's full of hot air, but I assure you, it's anything but. So here it is, the conundrum that will test your mettle. I'm light as a feather, yet the strongest person can't hold me for much longer than a minute. It's a simple question, but the answer might not be as straightforward as you think. You might need to take a deep breath before you dive into this one. Remember, the answer is as light as a feather, and yet, it's something that even the strongest among us can't hold for long. Ready to guess? Your 15 seconds start now. Ready for a paradox? Here's one for you. Riddles, in their essence, are paradoxes. They pose questions that seem contradictory or absurd, yet might have a logical or possible solution. So, let's dive into another riddle that's a bit of a head-scratcher. It's an object that seems to defy the very laws of nature. Here it goes. What gets wetter as it dries? Yes, you heard that right. An object that, as it dries, gets wetter. It's a bit of a conundrum, isn't it? It goes against everything we know about the natural process of drying. So take a moment, mull it over, turn it around in your mind. Remember, the answer may not be as far-fetched as it seems. The beauty of riddles lies in their ability to make us think outside the box. Your 15 seconds start now. Here's a riddle to test your logic. Picture this. It's an object, something you might see every day. It's a bit of a paradox, really. It has a head and a tail, quite like many creatures you'd find in the wild. But here's the catch. It doesn't have a body. Yes, you heard that right. A head, a tail, but no body to connect the two. Now that's a head-scratcher, isn't it? It's not as abstract as you might think. In fact, if you look closely, you might just find the answer right in your pocket. So can you figure out what it is? What has a head, a tail, but no body? Take your time, mull it over, ponder on it. Remember, the answer might be simpler than you think. Your 15 seconds start now. Test your abstract thinking with this riddle. Here's a challenge that's sure to keep your brain ticking. Ponder on this. The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? This riddle is a fascinating paradox. It's a question that doesn't seem to make sense at first glance. After all, how is it possible to leave more behind by taking more? Isn't taking usually associated with lessening? This riddle is all about perspective. It's a question that forces you to think outside the box, to consider possibilities that you might not have thought of before. It's a question that demands creative thinking, an ability to see beyond the obvious and delve into the abstract. So, let's get those gears turning. What could possibly fit this description? What could possibly leave more behind the more you take from it? Think carefully, think creatively, and most importantly, think outside the box. Your 15 seconds start now. Ready for a tricky one? Here it is. Let's play with time, moments, and millennia. Picture this riddle in your mind. What comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years? Intriguing, isn't it? Does it make you think about the nature of time, how it slips away, and how it's filled with tiny moments of importance? Or does it make you ponder over the vastness of 1,000 years, a time span that dwarfs our human experience? Or perhaps you're thinking about the minute details, the nuances that make up our daily lives. Whatever your train of thought, remember, the joy of riddles is not just in finding the answer, but in the journey of pondering over the question. So take your time, let your mind wander and explore the possibilities. Your 15 seconds start now. This one's a bit of a mystery. Are you ready? Let's delve into the enigmatic world of riddles again. Our seventh riddle is a real brain teaser. It's about something that isn't visible, but it's there, nonetheless. It's about something that can speak without a mouth and hear without ears. It doesn't have a body, yet it comes alive with the wind. Now, isn't that something to ponder? The riddle goes like this. I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I? It's a riddle that makes you think about the invisible, the intangible, and yet, the very real. It's a riddle that challenges your imagination and your understanding of the world around you. So think about it. What could possibly speak without a mouth, hear without ears, have no body, yet come alive with the wind? Your 15 seconds start now. Opening. This riddle will make you think about life and age. Are you ready for the eighth riddle? Let's dive straight into it. It's a conundrum that revolves around the concept of growth and the inevitable passage of time. A paradox that might seem contrary to the laws of nature. Here it is. I'm tall when I'm young, and I'm short when I'm old. What am I? This isn't a trick question. It's a simple, straightforward riddle, but it will surely make you scratch your head. Think about it. Think about what grows taller in its youth and shrinks as it ages. It's a simple, everyday object, something you might have used or seen before. Remember, the answer might be right under your nose, hiding in plain sight. So, put on your thinking cap and let your mind explore the possibilities. Closing. Your 15 seconds start now. This one will take you to an imaginary world. Here it is. Picture a place where you can find cities without a single house. Yes, cities that are devoid of the hustle and bustle of everyday life. No towering buildings, no cozy homes, just silence. Now, imagine a forest. But this isn't your ordinary forest. It's a forest without trees. A forest where there's no rustling of leaves, no chirping of birds, just an eerie quiet. And finally, think of rivers, but not the kind you're used to. These rivers carry no water. There's no gushing sound, no life beneath their surface, just the bare ground. Here's the question. What is this place that has cities without houses, forests without trees, and rivers without water? Intriguing, isn't it? Take a moment, think it through. Your 15 seconds start now. Here's our final riddle for today. This one is a bit of a mind bender, so get ready to put on your thinking caps. Here it goes. The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? Now, this one might seem a bit paradoxical at first. It's asking for something that increases when you take more of it, yet leaves something behind at the same time. It's not about any physical object, but it's a concept that we all are familiar with. It's something that's always there, yet often goes unnoticed. It's something we all create and follow, yet we don't pay much attention to it. It's a riddle that tests your lateral thinking ability, your ability to think outside the box, to look beyond the obvious. So cogitate, ponder, and ruminate. You have 15 seconds to solve this riddle. Your 15 seconds start now. Now that we've tested your wit, it's time to reveal the answers. Let's take it from the top and revisit our first riddle. What has keys but can't open locks? Did you guess it right? The answer is a piano. Yes, a piano. With its black and white keys, it opens the doors to a symphony of sounds, but alas, it can't unlock a door. The second riddle asked, I'm light as a feather, yet the strongest person can't hold me for much longer than a minute. What am I? If you thought it was something tangible, think again. The answer is your breath. As effortless as it may seem, try holding it for longer than a minute. It's not as easy as it sounds, is it? The third riddle might have left you a bit puzzled. What gets wetter as it dries? It sounds contradictory, doesn't it? But the answer is simple, a towel. The more it dries you, the wetter it becomes. Quite a paradoxical object, isn't it? Next up was the riddle. What has a head, a tail, but no body? No, it's not a mythical creature from a fantasy novel. It's something you carry in your pocket every day. The answer is a coin. With its heads and tails side, it decides our fate in many a flip, but it doesn't have a body. The fifth conundrum we presented was, the more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? If you've been scratching your head over this one, the answer is footsteps. Each step you take leaves a footprint behind, but it also takes you closer to your destination. Our sixth riddle was a play on words. What comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years? The answer is the letter mem. It's there in a minute and a moment, but you won't find it in 1,000 years. Riddle number 7 might have had you thinking about ghost stories. I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I? The answer is an echo. It bounces back our words without a mouth and hears them without ears. For the 8th riddle, we asked, I'm tall when I'm young and I'm short when I'm old. What am I? The answer is a candle. It stands tall in its youth, but as it ages, it becomes shorter. Our penultimate riddle was a real brain teaser. What has cities but no houses, forests but no trees, and rivers but no water? The answer is a map. It's a miniature world with all the elements of the real world, but without their physical presence. Finally, we asked, the more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? If you thought we were repeating ourselves, you're not entirely wrong. But this time, the answer is a path or a road. The more you travel, the more road you leave behind. Did you get them all right? If you enjoyed this, stay tuned for more riddles in our upcoming videos.